The dawn came gently that day. The first rays of the sun stretched across the horizon, brushing the sky with colors of pale gold and rose. The grasslands of the savannah shimmered as if dusted with fire. Acacia trees stood like silent guardians, their shadows stretching long across the earth. The air was crisp, filled with the distant hum of insects and the faint call of a hornbill. It was the kind of morning that promised peace. The kind of morning where herds would gather at the watering hole, where elephants would rumble in chorus, where wildebeest and zebras would tread paths carved by generations. But not today. Today, the silence was heavy. It was the silence that follows loss. By a narrow pool of water, barely more than a mirror of the sky, stood a small elephant calf. Its body swayed slightly, its legs trembling under the weight of fear and exhaustion. Dust clung to its skin, cracked from thirst and streaked with mud. Its ears, too large for its tiny head, flapped weakly in the heat. Its trunk dangled low, curling and uncurling with uncertainty. This calf should not have been alone. Only hours earlier, it had walked proudly at its mother's side, shielded by her massive frame, comforted by the warmth of her touch. But the night had brought chaos. A crack of gunfire. The crash of trees. The screaming rumble of elephants scattering into the dark. Poachers had come. And when the herd fled, one did not rise again. The calf's mother now lay far from the pool, her great body claimed by greed, not nature. The rest of the herd, panicked and afraid, had left the calf behind. The little one's calls had gone unanswered. Now, there was no herd. No mother. Only emptiness. The calf let out a soft, broken trumpet, high-pitched, pleading, the sound of a child begging the world not to forget it. Its cries echoed across the plains, but the only answer was silence. The water rippled where the trunk touched it. A dragonfly hovered above. The savannah turned its face away. But not everything turned away. From the ridge above the pool, eyes glimmered in the tall grass. A jackal had been watching for hours. Hunger gnawed at its belly, sharp and relentless. The calf, standing alone, was temptation made real. Too small to defend itself, too weak to run. Prey without protection. The jackal moved forward, step by silent step, its body low, its paws soft against the soil. The wind carried the scent of fear from the calf's trembling body. The predator's teeth glinted in the growing sun. Soon, it thought. Soon. The calf lifted its head. Its ears twitched. Instinct whispered danger. Its eyes scanned the horizon, wide, unblinking. Then it cried out again, louder this time, a thin trumpet of desperation. But still, no herd came. Only the jackal. The predator crept closer. Another step. And another. The calf backed away, its legs shaking, its trunk curling in panic. Then, from the reeds at the water's edge, something unexpected stirred. A shape rose, tall and awkward, casting a long shadow across the pool. A marabou stork. With its bald head, sharp beak, and great wings stretching wide, the bird was a strange and eerie figure. Normally, it was a scavenger, waiting patiently for death to do its work. But today, it stepped forward. Today, it chose a different role. The stork spread its wings, each beat stirring the dust, and let out a harsh rattling call. Its beak clattered like snapping bones. The jackal froze, startled by the defiance. Predators expect fear. They expect retreat. But this ungainly bird did not move aside. The calf pressed closer to the stork, its small body trembling, its wide eyes fixed on the jackal. Somehow, instinct told it what its mother might have whispered: stay close to the protector. The jackal growled, circling, trying to find a weakness. It lunged once, testing the courage of the bird. But the stork struck back, lunging forward with its long beak, snapping dangerously close to the predator's face. Feathers flared, wings beat like thunder. The calf flinched, but the jackal retreated, startled. Minutes passed in tense stillness. The jackal paced, torn between hunger and hesitation. But each time it inched forward, the stork's wings opened wider, its beak striking closer, until at last the predator broke. With a frustrated yelp, it turned, slinking back into the tall grass. The calf was safe. For now. The little elephant pressed its trunk against the stork's side, as though clinging to the only comfort left in the world. The bird did not move away. Instead, it stood firm, tall, silent, watching the horizon. The sun climbed higher, burning the air. The pool shrank in the heat, its surface broken by the calf's desperate attempts to drink. Its small body staggered, weary. Alone, it could not survive. And yet, it was not entirely alone. The stork remained. Hours passed. Shadows stretched long again, and the savannah changed its voice. Lions roared in the distance. Hyenas laughed, sharp and cruel. The calf shivered, pressing closer to its strange guardian. And then, hope arrived. In the nearby village, farmers had heard the cries. Trumpets carried by the wind, too small and too desperate to belong to a herd. They called the rangers. One man, Daniel, answered. He had seen too much loss to ignore one more. His jeep rattled across dirt tracks, dust rising behind him. As he neared the pool, the sight before him froze his breath. A lone calf stood pressed against the dark figure of a marabou stork. Its tiny trunk draped across the bird's back, as though holding on to life itself. The ranger had seen many things in his years, but never this: prey and scavenger bound together, child and sentinel. He stepped slowly from the vehicle, voice low, words soft, trying not to frighten the calf. The stork turned its head, unblinking, watching him carefully. Daniel spoke again, his tone calm, carrying reassurance across the still air. The calf shifted, uncertain. It let out a cry, half fear, half hope. Daniel raised his radio and called the rescue team. Within the hour, a truck rumbled into the clearing. Ropes, nets, crates, the tools of salvation. The calf panicked as the rangers approached, its trunk thrashing, its ears flapping in distress. But one ranger knelt low, whispering, stroking its rough skin. Slowly, carefully, they guided it toward safety. Through it all, the stork did not leave. It followed each step, its wings half open, as though ready to strike if danger came again. Even when the calf was lifted into the transport crate, its trunk reaching desperately through the bars, the stork remained, standing tall. Only when the truck rolled away did the bird stop. It stood in the dust, its gaze fixed on the horizon, watching until the vehicle disappeared. Days later, in the sanctuary, the calf found new life. Fed from giant bottles of milk, comforted by caretakers, surrounded by other orphans, it began to grow strong again. Its ears flapped with joy. Its trunk curled in play. The shadows of loss did not vanish, but hope had returned. And the stork? Farmers swore they saw it still near the pool, lingering by the water's edge. Others whispered that it had followed unseen, keeping watch from the skies above. Perhaps it was myth. Perhaps it was truth. But the story spread. A calf saved not by tusks or herd, but by wings. A predator that chose restraint. A scavenger that chose guardianship. A moment in the endless wild where compassion broke the rules. The savannah is a place of survival, where the strong thrive and the weak often fall. Yet sometimes, just sometimes, something changes. A bond is formed. A choice is made. The orphaned elephant lived. The jackal walked away. And the stork, unlikely and ungainly, became a guardian. The story would be told again and again. Around village fires. In sanctuaries. Across the world. Proof that even in the harshest places, kindness can bloom. Not by tusks. Not by claws. Not by strength. But by defiance. By compassion. By a bond that defied the wild. The calf had lost everything. Yet, because of a choice made by wings, it had been given tomorrow.